Welcome back. Today, we're diving into something huge, success. But instead of just talking about it, we're going to break down a whole bunch of principles into a really clear, powerful system you can actually use. Let's get right into it.
Just think about that for a second. So often, we see success as, just an accident, a lucky break, something that happens to other people. But what if it's not luck at all? What if it's more like building a house, a structure that, if you have the right blueprint, you can put together yourself, piece by piece? So that's the big idea we're digging into today, and we're going to use this simple 4-pillar framework. First, we'll lay the foundation with your mindset. Then we'll draw up the blueprint with your vision. We'll fire up the engine by taking action. And finally, we'll crank it all up with the amplifier, people, power. You'll see how all 4 of these lock together to create this super solid system for getting where you want to go. All right, let's start with pillar 1, your mindset. This is the foundation. Before you can build anything that's going to last, you have to get the groundwork right. And that groundwork, it all starts right here, in your head. It's all about how you choose to think about things.
The real core of this whole pillar is a concept called above-the-line thinking. And it's a simple idea, but it is a game changer. It's about taking total 100% responsibility for your own success. Look, life isn't always fair. We all know that. And the point isn't to pretend that it is. The point is to accept it and then manage it. It's this one little shift from seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances to seeing yourself as the owner of your life that changes absolutely everything.
And here's what that looks like in the real world. On one side, you've got someone who's obstacle-focused. They're the person who sees the problem in everything. They blame other people, the economy, their boss, whatever. They're always reacting to stuff that happens to them. But on the other side, you've got the person who's opportunity-focused. They see possibilities, they take responsibility, they're proactive. It's the difference between asking, why is this happening to me, and asking, okay, what can I do about this?
And this just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? It gets right to the heart of this first pillar. It really doesn't matter where you're starting from. It doesn't matter if the odds are stacked against you. With the right mindset, your starting point never, ever has to define your final destination. Okay, so we've got our mental foundation poured and set. Now it's time for pillar 2, the blueprint. This is all about your vision, because once you've got that solid mindset, you need a plan, right? You need a clear architectural drawing of what it is you're actually trying to build. And the way you create this blueprint follows this really powerful mantra. Think big, start small. So you start with this huge, ambitious, long-term vision. You begin with the end in mind. But then, right away, you bring it back down to earth by taking tiny, manageable steps that start building momentum. All the while, you're keeping your eye on that big prize, aiming to be a leader in whatever field you choose. And to really help you with that think big part, the source material brings up this idea inspired by the investor Ray Dalio. Just try thinking on a 10-year horizon. When you stretch your thinking out that far, it kind of forces you to look past all the small day-to-day dramas and setbacks and really design the massive thing you're trying to build.
Now, a massive part of a powerful vision isn't just about being successful. It's about being different. The world already has enough copycats. It doesn't reward imitation for very long. Real, lasting success comes from carving your own path and going against the herd.
So, how do you actually do that? How do you be different? Well, it starts with things like innovating instead of just imitating, or truly obsessing over your customers to find what they really need. But honestly, one of the most critical and, let's be real, hardest things on this list is that last one, having the discipline to say no. Every single time you say yes to some random new idea, you're saying no to your core mission. Real focus means knowing exactly what you're not going to do. Okay, we have the foundation of mindset. We have the blue part of vision. Now we need some horsepower. Welcome to pillar 3, the engine. This is all about taking action. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's where we turn all that thinking and planning into something real, something tangible. For taking action, there's this really powerful 2-step process. First up is design, and this starts with a kind of surprising idea. First, you imitate. You learn from what's already working, you master the fundamentals. Then, once you've done that, you innovate. Then, step 2 is execution. And the mantra here is so simple. First, complete it, then perfect it. Get it done. Get it out there. Don't let perfectionism stop you from ever actually finishing anything.
This whole idea of taking action is so important. It's actually framed as a series of unbreakable laws. And we're going to focus on one that is absolutely crucial. Law number 4.
It's called the law of harvests. You reap what you sow. I mean, it's a principle as old as time itself, right? You can have the best mindset in the world, the most incredible vision. But if you don't actually do the work, if you don't sow those seeds through constant, consistent action, you will never, ever see the results. Talk is cheap. Wishes don't get you anywhere. Only execution produces results. And that brings us to our 4th and final pillar. This is the one that takes everything we've just built and scales it up to a whole new level. Pillar 4 is the amplifier, people power. Because, let's face it, your individual effort can only get you so far. True, massive success, the kind that grows exponentially, that comes from working with others. It comes from leadership and synergy.
And the core philosophy for making this happen is called servant leadership. The idea is so simple, but it's pretty revolutionary. It's that to lead other people, you first have to serve them. It just flips the whole traditional pyramid upside down. You stop asking, hey, what can my team do for me? And you start asking, what can I do to help my team succeed? And this kind of leadership, it's built on wisdom to know the right thing to do, integrity to actually do it, love to genuinely care for your people, and boldness to take the necessary risks for them.
A huge part of serving people really just boils down to how you communicate. Now, the typical way most people do it is they speak first. They're focused on their own point, just waiting for a pause so they can jump in and be understood. But the effective way, the servant leader way, is the total opposite. You seek first to understand. That means you're genuinely listening, trying to find common ground before you even think about making your own argument. And finally, you amplify everything by consciously building your network. This is all driven by what the source calls the law of reciprocating relations, which is really just a fancy way of saying you get back what you put out. It's that simple. So if you make a point to be around positive, successful people, if you genuinely praise others, if you focus on improving yourself before you ask it of anyone else, you'll build a network that reflects that same powerful energy right back at you.
So there you have it, a complete 4-part system for success. It's all building on a foundation of your mindset, guided by a blueprint of vision, powered by the engine of action, and then scaled up with the people amplifier. So the only question left is for you. As you look at those 4 pillars, which one is your weakest link right now? And more importantly, what is one small thing, one action you can take today to start making it stronger? Thanks for joining us.